All right. Welcome in, everyone. We're ready to dive deep today
Ready to go.
into some pretty unconventional wisdom, I think.
Yeah, definitely off the beaten path.
The kind of stuff you don't really find in like textbooks or classrooms.
Not your typical curriculum.
But when you hear it, it's like, wait a minute, this is actually really important stuff.
Right, this should be mandatory almost.
Exactly. It's about those essential skills, the perspectives that can seriously change how you navigate life.
Totally, like the real world stuff they should have taught us but didn't.
So get ready to kind of rethink what it means to be smart.
We're talking beyond grades and degrees here, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is about a different kind of intelligence.
A more practical kind of street smarts almost.
Yeah, exactly. The stuff that actually makes you successful in the real world.
And we've got a treasure trove of insights to draw from today. Some fascinating personal reflections on this topic.
Oh, it's amazing. Some of the stuff in here, it's like light bulbs going off left and right.
Seriously, you're going to have a ton of those aha moments.
So are you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. So one of the things that struck me right away, and this might sound a little odd at first, is the emphasis on storytelling and humor.
Yeah, you wouldn't think those are top priorities, right?
Especially when you see them listed alongside, like managing money or other more what you'd consider hard skills.
Totally. Like, is cracking a joke really as vital as balancing your checkbook?
But then when you actually delve into what this source is saying, it starts to make a lot of sense.
The case they build for these softer skills, it's pretty compelling.
So break it down for us. Why are storytelling and humor such game changers?
Well, think about it. They're all about connection, about influence.
Okay, I'm listening.
A well-told story, it can grab your attention like nothing else.
Oh, for sure. A good story. You're hooked.
It makes a point stick in your mind.
Much more than just dry facts.
Exactly. And it can even get people to take action, to do something.
So it's like a superpower almost.
In a way, it is. And humor.
Don't tell me, another superpower.
Pretty much. It's like this universal language.
Everyone gets a good laugh.
Right. And it can diffuse tense situations, build relationships.
Make you someone people want to be around.
Exactly. Who doesn't love someone who can make them laugh?
All right. I'm sold on the importance, but how do we actually get better at these things?
It's easy to say, be a better storyteller, but how do you actually do that?
Yeah, it feels kind of vague.
Well, this source has some interesting ideas.
Like what?
One thing they suggest is to become a student of storytelling.
So like take a class or something.
Not necessarily a formal class, but pay close attention to how skilled communicators do it.
Oh, so like watch and learn from the pros.
Exactly. Whether it's a charismatic leader, a comedian, whoever you admire for their storytelling.
Analyze what they do, how they structure their stories, the timing, the delivery.
All of that. There's a real art to it. And you can pick up a lot just by observing.
So it's not just some innate talent you're born with, you can actually learn it.
Absolutely. It's a skill you can develop.
That's a huge mindset shift.
And the same goes for humor.
So pay attention to what makes jokes funny.
Yeah, the timing, the wordplay, how they set it up.
And then try to incorporate more humor into your own life.
Even small things like a witty comment or a self-deprecating joke.
It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Precisely. And who knows, you might discover a hidden talent you never knew you had.
Speaking of skills that might need a bit of practice, the source also talks about financial literacy.
Oh, that's a big one.
They really emphasize that the world's getting more complex, and you got to know how to manage your money to thrive.
No kidding. It's not just about budgeting anymore. It's about making smart decisions with your money.
Saving, investing, planning for the future, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and this source really ties this to the idea of self-sufficiency.
Being in control of your financial well-being.
Exactly. Knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you.
That sense of security, it's priceless.
Totally agree.
Now, this source gets pretty deep into the importance of understanding human psychology.
Oh, that's where things get really interesting.
They argue that if you want to navigate relationships and interactions smoothly, you got to get how people tick.
Makes sense, right? If you understand what motivates people, their fears, their desires.
You can kind of predict how they'll react.
And tailor your communication accordingly?
So it's about getting inside their heads, almost.
In a way, yes. It's about empathy, understanding their perspective.
This reminds me of another point they make about the art of saying no.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Not always easy, but so important.
And understanding psychology can give you the tools to set boundaries effectively.
Because you can recognize those situations where saying yes would actually be harmful.
Right. It's about protecting yourself, your well-being.
And then being able to say no in a way that minimizes conflict.
And preserves those relationships.
So it's not just about uttering the word, it's about the strategy behind it.
Exactly. It's about being thoughtful, considerate, but firm.
Do you have any tips for our listeners on how to say no more effectively?
Let me think. One thing that works well is offering a brief explanation.
Without going into too much detail.
Yeah, and avoid over-apologizing.
So instead of just saying, I can't, maybe try something like,
I'm already committed to another project at that time.
or I wouldn't be able to give it the attention it deserves.
Exactly. You acknowledge their request, but firmly state your position.
And it really emphasizes that saying no can be an act of self-preservation.
Totally. It's about knowing your limits, respecting your own time and energy.
You don't have to be everything to everyone.
It's okay to prioritize your own needs.
One of the most liberating ideas in this collection, in my opinion, is about embracing imperfection.
Oh, yeah. Letting go of that need for everything to be perfect.
Because striving for perfection, it can actually hold you back.
Big time. It sets this unrealistic standard it's impossible to achieve.
And it can be so demoralizing.
Absolutely. But embracing imperfection, it allows you to be kinder to yourself.
To learn from those mistakes.
See setbacks as opportunities for growth.
It's like they say, the only way to avoid making mistakes is to do nothing.
And who wants a life like that?
Not me. But if we're always scared of messing up, we'll never truly learn or grow.
Exactly. And this source, they make this really powerful statement about clinging to perfection.
What do they say?
They say, the most dangerous people are those who run away from change.
That's deep and true. Change is inevitable, right?
It's the only constant.
We can either resist it, get left behind, or adapt and even embrace it.
And that's where resilience comes in.
Being able to bounce back from those challenges.
Adapt to changing circumstances.
So how do we cultivate more resilience? Any practical tips?
We'll start by reframing how you view those challenges.
Instead of seeing them as threats.
See them as opportunities.
To learn, grow, become more adaptable. So it's a mindset shift from why me to what can I learn from this?
Exactly. It's about finding the silver lining, the lesson in every experience.
That's powerful. And it kind of ties into another point this source makes about the dangers of ignorance.
Especially when it's combined with this belief in one's own rightness.
Oh, that's a recipe for disaster.
Big time. Because when we're closed off to new information, different perspectives,
We get stuck in our own little bubble.
our worldview becomes so limited.
And that can lead to all sorts of problems.
Prejudice, conflict, an inability to learn and grow.
So how do we combat that?
Cultivate intellectual humility.
Be open to the possibility that we might be wrong.
And this ties beautifully into the source's emphasis on asking questions.
They say, if you do not ask, the answer is always no.
So simple, yet so profound.
It's about being curious, seeking out information, being proactive.
If you don't ask, you'll never know what you might be missing out on.
It's about taking that chance, stepping outside your comfort zone.
Embracing the unknown.
Now, the last point I want to touch on is their observation about the difference between genuine sharing and transactional behavior.
Oh, that's an important one, especially in today's world.
Yeah, with social media and everything, it's easy to fall into that what's in it for me mentality.
True sharing, it comes from a different place.
A place of abundance, of generosity.
You're not expecting anything in return.
It's about giving freely without keeping score.
And that's a powerful message, a challenge to rethink our motivations.
Wow, this has been quite a journey. So much wisdom packed into these seemingly simple statements.
It really makes you realize that being smart goes beyond traditional measures.
It's about developing the skills and perspectives that empower you to live a better life.
A more fulfilling, connected, and meaningful life.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with this question.
What's that?
Which of these unconventional skills resonated most with you?
And how can you start incorporating it into your own life?
Maybe tell a more engaging story, practice saying no.
Be more curious, ask more questions.
Remember, these skills are like muscles. The more you use them, the stronger they get.
So take that first step, embrace the challenge, and watch yourself grow.
That's it for this deep dive, folks.
Thanks for joining us.
Keep exploring, and until next time, happy learning.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.